Deep in the heart of the French countryside lies one of the most captivating stories on YouTube, the tale of Château de Lalande. A grand historical estate that is overflowing with charm, mystery, and a web of controversies that few have dared to untangle. On the surface, it is a story of passion, dedication, and the pursuit of a dream. But beneath the picturesque facade lies a growing storm of unanswered questions. And today, we are peeling back the layers of illusion to ask the main question: what secrets has Stephanie Jarvis been keeping? For years, Stephanie has fascinated millions with her journey of restoring this 16th-century chateau. Her YouTube series, the Chateau Diaries, has become a virtual escape for thousands who dream of life in the French countryside. The visuals are breathtaking. The storytelling is immersive. But beyond all the perfectly framed shots and romanticized atmosphere, many are beginning to question the reality behind the camera. And what we found might just change everything. The dream that became a business. Stephanie's journey started as a dream, one that captivated not just her, but an entire online community. In 2005, she made the bold decision to leave her small London flat and purchase the infamous Château de Lalande with two friends, a centuries-old estate full of history, but requiring massive restoration work. The vision was ambitious: to transform the property into a thriving bed and breakfast, an artist's retreat, and a filming location for those drawn to its magic. But a dream of this magnitude required resources, and that too, a huge amount of them. And that's where things start to getting a little interesting. In the beginning, the chateau's restoration relied on personal funds and small-scale bookings. But then came lockdown, and with it came a surge of content on YouTube. The Chateau Diaries changed everything. What began as simple vlogs about chateau life quickly transformed into a full-fledged business model. Views skyrocketed, subscribers poured in, and then Patreon happened. This is where the first big question arose. The $30,000 question. Where does the money go? People started to wonder, how much money does the Chateau Diaries really make? And more importantly, where does it all go? Stephanie's Patreon is one of the most successful in the entire home restoration niche. With over 6,300 patrons, she receives an estimated $30,000 every month, and sometimes it's even more. That's nearly $400,000 per year in crowdfunding alone. And that's before we even count the YouTube ad revenue, sponsorships, and the income from B&B bookings. With well over $500,000 flowing in annually, many fans have started wondering, why do so many restoration projects seem to stall even after all this time? One of the most frequently discussed and eagerly anticipated projects on the Chateau Diaries has been the long-promised installation of a proper heating system. For years, Stephanie has assured her audience that upgrading the chateau's outdated and inefficient heating is her top priority, repeatedly highlighting the discomfort of enduring harsh winters in a centuries-old building. Yet, despite receiving substantial financial support through her Patreon, YouTube revenue, and other income streams, this crucial improvement remains unfinished. Instead of seeing progress, viewers have observed a recurring pattern in how funds appear to be allocated. Rather than investing in some much-needed infrastructure upgrades, money seems to be frequently redirected toward more aesthetic enhancements, such as lavish decorations, antique furniture, and high-end personal indulgences. While these extravagant purchases undoubtedly contribute to the chateau's charm and cinematic appeal, they do little to address the practical needs of maintaining a historic estate. The question many supporters are now asking is, why is such a critical project continually delayed when the financial resources clearly exist? Which actually leads us to the real question: why is it so? The spending controversy: restoration or luxury lifestyle? Is Château de Lalande truly being restored, or is the funding being used for something else entirely? One of the biggest criticisms of the Chateau Diaries has been the lack of visible progress in the chateau's restoration. While Patreon donors expect their contributions to support structural repairs, many have questioned why the funds seem to be spent elsewhere. A new chandelier here, a designer chair there, luxurious trips to Venice, London, and even South Africa. While these indulgences help in creating beautiful vlogs, they do very little to fix the underlying issues at the chateau. And then there's the issue of transparency, or rather, the lack of it. Unlike some YouTubers in the restoration niche who are transparent about their finances and provide detailed breakdowns of how viewer donations are allocated, Stephanie has offered very little public accountability regarding the Chateau Diaries' financial operations. Many content creators in the Chateau restoration community publish expense reports or regular updates outlining how contributions are used, making sure that their supporters feel informed. However, in Stephanie's case, this level of transparency is noticeably absent. Instead, her Patreon supporters are expected to trust that their money is being managed responsibly and ethically, without access to any official documentation or financial statements. As time goes on and major projects remain unfinished, doubts about how the funds are truly being spent continue to intensify, leading to increased speculation among both longtime fans and casual viewers. Another area of growing concern involves Château de Lalande's volunteer program. The Château frequently hosts volunteers who work on a variety of tasks, including renovations, maintenance, and general upkeep, in exchange for food and accommodation. While this type of arrangement is common in historic property restoration, some have raised concerns over whether these volunteers are being exploited as free labor, particularly given the significant financial support Stephanie receives from Patreon and other revenue streams. If such generous funding is available, why aren't paid professionals being hired to complete key restoration work? Are the volunteers truly benefiting from an educational and cultural exchange, or are they simply filling labor gaps while project budgets are directed elsewhere? These questions have fueled ongoing debates, leaving many wondering if the Chateau's restoration efforts are even being conducted, or if they are merely a means of sustaining the channel's narrative. The online backlash, the cracks begin to show. Not all of Stephanie's audience is enchanted anymore. Some are starting to see the cracks beneath the glamorous facade. While the Chateau Diaries still has a loyal fan base, a growing number of viewers have begun questioning the narrative. Online forums like Reddit and Facebook groups dedicated to Chateau restoration have started dissecting Stephanie's projects. Why do some renovations drag on for years while expensive new decor keeps appearing in the background? Why do certain promises like the heating remain unfulfilled, despite clear financial resources? Critics argue that Stephanie thrives under the pretense of struggle. If the Chateau were fully restored, the Chateau Diaries might lose its appeal. By maintaining a constant stream of urgent repairs, there's always a reason for viewers to keep donating. It's a clever strategy, but is it ethical? Stephanie's response: defense or deflection? Stephanie has occasionally addressed criticism in her videos. She often reminds viewers that managing a historic property is unpredictable, requiring careful allocation of funds. She insists that restoration is genuine but slow due to unforeseen costs and French bureaucracy. But here's the problem. Other chateau owners on YouTube, working with far smaller budgets, have made significantly more progress in a shorter time. Another key defense she often leans on is the claim that the Chateau Diaries is not just about restoration, it's about storytelling. And while that's true, when storytelling involves real-world donations from thousands of fans, accountability matters. Many believe Stephanie has been deliberately vague about how much money actually goes into restoration. What's next for Château de Lalande? With so many unanswered questions, what does the future hold for the Chateau Diaries? Despite the controversies, one thing is undeniable. Stephanie is an incredibly talented storyteller. She knows how to create magic on screen, transporting viewers into a world where history, romance, and restoration intertwine. But as the audience grows wiser, so too does the demand for transparency. If Stephanie wants to silence the critics, she must release a clear financial breakdown of how Patreon funds are spent, ensuring that major restorations, like the heating, are finally completed and prove that Château de Lalande is not just a backdrop for content, but a genuine restoration project fueled by viewer trust. Until then, the whispers of doubt will only grow louder. Final thoughts. The truth behind the fairy tale. At the end of the day, the Chateau Diaries is a business. But is it an honest one? Stephanie Jarvis has built an empire around her chateau's charm, but every empire must answer to its subjects. The beauty of the internet is that it rewards authenticity, but it also exposes deception. Whether the Chateau Diaries will stand the test of time depends not just on its storytelling, but on its truthfulness. So we leave you with this question. When watching the Chateau Diaries, are you seeing a restoration or a carefully crafted illusion? The answer might just be hiding in plain sight.